Friday. It's a nice surprise to see all of you here tonight. I expected a farming community that we wouldn't do that well tonight, so thank you very much for coming. The last two guys kind of explained a lot of things to you that, I'm going to go over a little bit, just so you understand. I'll show you graphically what's going on. If you're like me, images stick with you a little bit better than just conversation. But I'm going to tell you something that I've been saying for 3 years. I've been saying that we're in a war. Literal war. And it's hard for people to understand. Tucker Carlson said it best when we brought Tucker Carlson in when I was working to Take Back Alberta. He said it would be a lot easier if they had jackboots and they were carrying rifles. But make no mistake, the end result is going to be the same thing. That's what we have to understand. That's how serious this is. This is as serious as a heart attack. I absolutely, totally believe that that's what's been going on. I totally believe that this has been going on for 3 or 4 years. And this is just it's accelerating, it's getting worse and worse, we're getting further down the line now. And, people are saying, oh, well, we thought we're making gains, but they're actually way ahead of us. We're going to have a unique opportunity right now, because our rules permit it, to get out of this mess. But we have to absolutely understand that it's going to take every single one of you to make us do this. So what I'm doing is I'm coming to talk to you to make a whole bunch of disciples out of you so that you can go talk to the people that are in your close group, whether that's your children or whether that's your children's friends or whether that's your brothers and sisters and everybody else that are kind of on the fence on this, that aren't as committed as you, that you have to go out there and get the work done too, because we're not going to do it without you. And the other thing I want you to understand is we can win this, and I think we're going to win this. Now we're going to have a lot of hurdles, along the way about whether if the vote, for example, is going to be fair. I think that's going to be one of our biggest hurdles. So let's start here. 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, Danielle Smith, sitting right beside me at a Bonneville UCP event in Bonneville, said, when I became the premier, I thought I would fix everything in 6 or 7 months, but everything is broken. What does that mean at her level? At her level, that means everything's too corrupt to fix. That's what it means. It means that she's leader of a government that basically didn't change underneath her. 3 or 4 or 5 people changed, and she's the boss of that entire group that brought us COVID. Right? Just understand that. COVID is the point. It's the changing point of everything. It's the acceleration of their program. COVID is when everything changed. So just be understood that COVID is the thing that got me involved, first of all, and a lot of other people, but COVID is the thing that changed everything. So what happened there is that it exposed these group of people. When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time, they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. So I'm going to tell you something that I've learned in the last 3 years. Our politicians are above the law. They are above the law. So they've created a system where they're not accountable to anything, and they're definitely not accountable to us. And before I'm done here tonight, I will try and make sure that you understand that. They are above the law. So if they are above the law, is it possible for us to have a democracy in its real sense? So if that's actually the case, and I believe it is, we have to turn that pyramid upside down and make it back to the way it's supposed to be. And it's up to us. Nobody else is going to do it for us. It's just absolutely up to us. So this is how they feel, and that's how they show us. They show us they feel this way. Today, Jeff alluded to the fact that Prime Minister Carney talked about taking the electric car mandate out. But how did that help the West? Danielle Smith basically went on, did a 2-minute deal yesterday, begging him to help us in oil and gas. And I'll get to that a little bit later. They're not going to help us. What are they going to do? Take EV mandates away to help the car manufacturers in the East, and what's that going to do for us in the West? Nothing. Same as usual. Nothing. It's the middle finger to all of us saying, you know what, we don't care about you, we don't need your vote. And we don't need your support, and we're just going to show you that we don't. Absolutely. Okay, what's at stake? The richest piece of real estate in the world. We have enough agriculture here. We're probably top 10 in the world for countries in agriculture. We're top 5 in oil. We have minerals, we have forests, we have clean water, and we basically have no people. So we have everything here. Everybody wants what we have. Historically, wars have been fought for that very thing. History shows us that strong nations will take over weak nations so they can afford more stuff. Bigger armies take over their stuff so they get more money. That's basically what this is all about. In spite of the fact that Mr. Carney said today this is not about money, it's all about money. It's all about money. And here's the choice that you're making. You're going to keep it or you're going to give it to them. It comes right down to that. It's that simple. And I'm going to share something with you. There's a lot of money here. We're talking about a big sum of money, something you can't even understand. I've been in the sporting goods business for 47 years, and the one thing I know about when you catch a thief, and I've caught thieves, I'm talking staff now, is that you will not believe how much money there was there until after you catch them. And you go, holy shit, how much money were they taking from us? When we become an independent country, it will shock everyone in this room how much money they're taking from us. I will promise you that right now. You will all, it will blow your mind. All right. So, elbows up, Alberta. I'm going to show you guys how Alberta contributes to the rest of the country and how elbows up Canada is. So they're saying, oh, elbows up to stop the separation movement or the independence movement in Alberta. However, we've been elbows up for 125 years. This is the difference. The net contribution to Ottawa, more than $244 billion. This is in 15 years, from 2007 to 2022. Now look at everybody else. Nobody close. Right? Alberta's elbows up here. Just pay attention to that. Look at Quebec. You got to give Quebec credit. Right? You got to give them credit. I mean, you can be mad at them, you can be pissed off at them, but you know what? You got to give them credit. They know how to run the system. And I got some news for you. They want out too. How come? I know they want out. I guarantee you they want out. Canada Pension Plan. You will get your Canada pension. They're going to try to terrorize you by saying, oh no, you're not going to get your Canada pension. You will get your Canada pension because you can remain a Canadian citizen. Nobody's going to take your Canadian citizenship away. Mr. Carney's got 3 passports, American, UK, and Canadian. So as a consequence to that, they owe you that money. They will pay it to you, no matter where you live. Pension has a portability clause. You can live in Florida and get your pension. You'll live in Florida and get your old age security if you choose. That's the way it works. They owe you that money, but I'm going to tell you something. That's a Ponzi scheme, that pension plan. It's money in, money out. They're going to start digging into the fund in a year or two because they don't have enough money to pay it. Albertans pay $9 billion a year to CPP. Our seniors collect $6 billion a year. There's a $3 billion surplus there. That will stay here in an independent Alberta. The other thing, the reason that we do that is we work more. We work more. We work more than anybody in the country, so we pay more CPP. We could give our seniors, just based on that number, without collecting another penny, 40% increase in pay. Right there. And it wouldn't cost us a thing. We just wouldn't put that $3 billion in the bank. We'd give it to our seniors and they could spend it and it would make our economy better. But here's the CPP plan. The CPP plan says this. If you over-contribute, which we do by $3 billion a year, every year, that money goes into a fund plus interest for Alberta seniors. And we had an actuarial report done. Jason Kenney actually asked for it. And it says that the CPP fund owes Alberta $335 billion. 2 years ago. 10% is what they say they're getting. 2 more years, that's another $60 billion, plus $6 billion in local contributions, it's $410 billion now. Right? So the Premier says, and I've been after the Premier to call us back, like I've asked him multiple times. The reason I went on the Canada Pension and started the Canada Pension and the Alberta First Pension thing was because the Premier said, it's a no-brainer. And I thought I'd go out and educate all the people and say, you know what, that is a no-brainer. Just the interest on that $400 billion is $40 billion a year, according to what they're saying they're getting at CPP. And we wouldn't have to move the money over. They could manage it for us if they're getting 10% for real, which they're not, but that's what they're saying. But at any rate, let's just say that they're getting 10% for real and we hold them to it. So $40 billion a year. That's our budget, our entire budget for the province of Alberta is $70 billion, thereabouts, right now. So just the interest on that money alone is $40 billion a year. But they've generously told us that they're going to give us $140 billion out of our $400 billion, is what the federal government's going to do with it. Because they're more just taking our money than giving it back to us, of course. But even let's play devil's advocate, and let's say they give us $140 billion. Interest on that at 10% is $14 billion a year. And our seniors collect 6. So without collecting a penny from anybody out there, just the interest alone on that would pay our seniors our $6 billion a year, and we have an $8 billion overage to stick in the fund. I wouldn't do that. But what I'm trying to tell you is your pension plan is secure. Either way. You're not going to steal your pension. All right, equalization. Equalization, that's what Quebec gets every year, $13.6 billion. Stick that on top of my $40 billion. Just so you understand. So with that income of $40 billion, we've got another $3 billion that we overspend. We overpay in our CPP. So that's 43, plus another 14 billion basically. So we're kind of building a fund, aren't we? And that doesn't include the 35 or 40 billion that we send east that they don't give back to us. So we're running, Jeff has been very kind and saying, well, we're running a $30 billion surplus. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you that's legit. We can afford to leave. We can afford this. And I always say, this is not funny, but it kind of is, and only as far as I'm concerned, they'll take us back. Don't worry, they'll take us back. And we give that $13.3 billion to Quebec every year. I understand Quebec cheats. And you've got to, like I say, give Quebec credit. They can cheat, we can't. So they don't put their Hydro-Quebec revenue into the equalization formula. So their biggest industry is not included so that they can collect all this equalization from the rest of the country. Okay, so that was kind of a deal they made when they tried to vote to get out to keep them in Confederation, as far as I'm concerned. Really, I think it would have worked out, and my family's all from Quebec. So I'm just telling you, it would have worked out real well if they had left. Because Canada would have been in 2 pieces, split in 2. The West would have been much more prominent than it is now. Anyways, just saying, they never left, so not a deal. Supreme Court justices, just so you understand how unfair it is. Now just understand that Mr. Carney could change this in a minute. All of this. He could pay us our pension money, he could change this so that it works. Confederation is working exactly the way they want it to work. It's designed to work the way it's working. And I disagree with Jeff on only one thing. They're not stupid. They're not idiots. They're calculating, they're crooked, and as far as I'm concerned, what they've done in the last 5 years, they're evil. And I'm not afraid to say it. So this is what it costs us. The Senate representation for Alberta, 700,000 people per senator. If you go back up there, go down to Nova Scotia. They've got 4 more Senate seats than us, and it's 100,000 people per seat. They can change that. They know how to, they've done that on purpose. Those people vote Liberal. Just so you get it. Here we go. We have 5 more seats and twice as many people. So why do you think the election's over by the time it gets here?
Yeah.
Right? It's designed that way. Screw the West. Screw Alberta. We're elbows up, but they're not very elbows up, right? They're not talking about, oh, we're going to make all these changes to make it fair for Alberta. The West wants in the 80s. Are we in? 40 years ago. We're still not in. So they're not going to let us in. They're not going to change anything. So unfortunately, we're left with the hard job. We have to get out. Because they're never going to let us in. And I really believe, honest to God, we're not going to get another chance. So this is it. So in life, as in politics, as in a lot of things, nothing happens for 30 years, and then 30 years happen in 1 year. And we're in the 1 year right now. Because after we make this decision, there's going to be no coming back. And I know who's going to suffer. Maybe not as many, there's a lot of older people in the room, but the kids are going to suffer. All right, 400 plus, Alberta's 12% of Canada's population, pays 20% of the tax. Elbows up Alberta. Per capita federal infrastructure spending, Quebec gets $2,700 per person, Alberta $1,200 per person. Elbows up Alberta again. Civil service, Ontario, Quebec, 2 times more than Alberta. And that creates jobs, and they get to work over there. All right, this was alluded to. Now, this is important. This is nonpartisan. I don't care who's in government. If you have a chance to affect policy and you have a chance to talk to government, the people in power, you have to attend. And that's why I bring more people every year to the AGM, because it's really important. We put a brand new Alberta Bill of Rights in last year, and nobody ever said we could do it. And then the government threw us under the bus and took rights away from us. We had less rights when we're done than we had when we started, so it was basically no good. We understand that, but guess what? They're going to be up on the stage at the beginning of the AGM next year, and we're going to go ask them, what the hell was that? What are all the notwithstanding clauses in this Bill of Rights that weren't there before? They're going to have to answer to that, and you guys can all be there and make sure that they answer to that. Because I'll definitely be there. I'll be standing right in the front asking questions if I get a chance. They'll let me ask one, but I'm sure we'll have other people there to ask the questions. And they're going to be hard questions. And I want to tell you something else. If we bring, which is my goal, 4,000 to 5,000 people to that AGM, and we represent the freedom people, 3 years in a row that I've been involved with the AGM, I had the same reporter from the Calgary Herald come and ask me a question. Mitch, there was 1,700 people at this AGM. Mitch, do you believe this represents the party? Well, I said they showed up. Right? The following year, we had 3,700 people. Same guy said, Mitch, this can't represent the base of the party. I said, well, again, they showed up. And last year, we had 6,700 people. Right? And he said again, Mitch, how is this possible? That you have, how do you get all these people out there? I said, when are you guys going to get it? This is the base of the party. This is it. This is, the whole party is freedom people, whether they like it or not. There's a group of progressives, I'm not disagreeing. But however, the Wild Rose is alive and well. And that's all there is to it. So, last week in November, go there, represent yourself, represent your point of view. You'll have an opportunity to vote on policy and governance, and that's all there is to it. So now let's get back to what actually happened and what now has sent us into this position that we're at. The last 10 years of Liberal government. Here's where it starts. In 2015, I am not one of those guys that believes this guy's a buffoon. This is the guy that laid the foundation for everything that's happening right now. He said, there is no core identity, no mainstream in Canada, and consequently, that makes us the first post-national state. A post-national state is a state with no borders. Exactly what Jeff was alluding to when he's talking about all this immigration that's coming. They don't want us to have a core identity or borders. They want to open the borders and make it porous so that all these people can come in. And that's exactly what they're doing. This is how it all started. In 1954, there was a statute in the Criminal Code of Canada that said it was illegal for media to lie to the public. However, in 2019, Bill C-39 was passed, making it legal for the media to lie to you. So, two things. You can't believe a thing that they say, because they can literally lie to you. The government is giving them $700 million a year to lie for them. Right? And here's the big problem. Guys my age spent our whole lives, except for the last 6 years, believing that the media was telling the truth and not knowing that they passed C-39. So out there, you have to feel sorry or feel bad, or you can forgive those people that are saying, well, that's not what I'm seeing on the news. Because through their whole lives, that was vetted and double vetted and everything else, so that people thought it was actually true. However, now they lie to us on purpose. So if somebody is lying to you on purpose, the rest of it, that's probably one of the worst things they can do. If they're lying to you, they'll cheat you. Right? If they're okay with lying to you, they're okay with doing all the rest. And that's exactly what they're doing. So Justin got this going, and just going to tell you how close to COVID is that date. FYI. And then, not only that, the media can't talk to you, but they passed bills, C-63 and C-11, that you can't talk to each other. Be careful. It's going to get worse. In England, they're fining people $25,000 for posts and texts. Did you ever think you'd live long enough to see that in Canada? So just understand this. This is not the place we grew up in. This is a country under siege, and unless we see it, we're going to let it go by us, and we'll never have a chance to get back. I was listening to Bob Dylan on the way up. You know, it's funny. How many times can a man turn his head and pretend he just doesn't see? Right? And I said, that is so fitting to what's going on right now. Whether you pretend or not, it's happening. It's like you get a cancer diagnosis and you wake up the next morning and you think it was all a bad dream. This is happening. This is going on right here. That's why I drove 6 hours today to talk to you guys. Because I really believe this is happening, and I really don't believe that we have that much time. Here's the rest of it. The very concept of a nation founded by European settlers is offensive to me. Just remember that. We offend him. Old stock white Canadians are an unpleasant relic and, quite frankly, replaceable. And we will replace them. Do you know what? It's almost hard for me to imagine anybody would say that. Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to go pre-Bill C-39, and I'm going to say, you know what? He did say that. But here's what happened. Did he show us that? That's 15 million immigrants into Canada since 2015. There's 44 million of us. So I'm just going to share this with you. 25% are kids, 25% are old people. At that rate, how long will it take them to replace us? No, and 2.5 million immigrants coming this year. He said, we're going to slow it down in 4, 5, or 6 years. By then, it'll be too late. And I'm not mad at the people that are coming here. Just so I clear that up. They're coming here for a better life. Lots of them are good people. As far as I'm concerned, everyone I've ever met, they're good people. But that doesn't change the fact that they're hurting us. And they're not doing it on purpose. It's the people that brought them here that are hurting us. So just understand who's responsible for that. It's not them. Did you know that the government gives refugees $224 a day for food and hotel?
Yep.
That comes to $81,760 a year.
I've never made that much a year.
No, most people, a lot of people haven't. You know what the average wage is? $72,000 in Alberta is the average income, household income, and in Canada it's $54,000. They pay them half again more than that to bring them in. And that's if they apply for refugee status. Okay, now here's where some of this stuff gets a little bit interesting. This is all about control and power. They were testing the water. They were testing the water to see how things were going to work. Recommended reading, and I'm not going to go into this. Pfizer papers needs to be read. The Davidson report backs just about everything up that the Pfizer papers said. So I'm just going to share with you one thing. The leading cause of death in Alberta for the last 2 or 3 years is unknown causes. I'm going to share with you something else. There is no such thing as death by unknown causes. So I'm also going to share something with you. As a CA president, I tried to get an inquiry into what was happening to our people. It didn't happen yet. That's all I'd like to say on that. Alberta Government Minister admits COVID restrictions were all about political power and control. And what happened? They locked us down. They were able to do just about everything they wanted to do. So I'm a little worried about the next one, honestly. So when Mr. Trudeau gave Mr. Carney the keys, what had he done? So, control the media. Second thing he did was he printed $325 billion during COVID, double the money supply. So he put us into an inflation. And he left Mr. Carney there to absolutely come in and mop up after that. So he absolutely knew what he was doing. And he introduced all the carbon and green policies that were actually trying to kill our economy and kill our oil patch. In his book Values, Dennis alluded to that, but here's my point to this. If you have a free and independent media, that's everywhere. None of you have ever heard this, I'm sure, because in his book Values, he said that the Western society is morally rotten and has been corrupted by capitalism, which has brought about a climate emergency, which is a lie. But that's absolutely communist. To say that our system is morally rotten and has been corrupted by capitalism. And I don't believe our system is morally rotten. It's morally rotten at their level. I don't think it's morally rotten at our level. Really, I don't. I've had this discussion with many people. What's the first thing he wants to do? He wants to suspend all federal laws because he's king. It's King Carney now. No rules apply to them. So they do things without permission, because they don't have to have permission, because you can't punish them. This is the anti-Indigenous law. No matter what anybody tells me, they do that, there'll be no consultation. There'll be no consultation, none. If they do this, and everybody's, oh yeah, they'll get pipelines through, they'll get all that done. Oh, by the way, do you know who those nuclear reactors, that's Westinghouse, is who builds those nuclear reactors, and he has big interest in Westinghouse. Now they've got him in a blind trust. I want to ask you a question. If you had lots of money and you invested lots of money in a whole bunch of big companies, would you forget them? Just want to know, right? Does you think he knows he's got shares in Westinghouse? Oh, come on. Oh, he does. All right, we dealt with the gas ban. We'll move on from that. All right. So he said he was going to build the economy. Okay. So in the first quarter, Canada shrank 1.6%. We are in a recession right now. If your economy shrinks anything 2 quarters in a row, that's officially the definition of a recession. Okay, so we're 1 quarter in. We shrunk last quarter and we shrunk the quarter before because the boys are telling you about our GDP. So we're not going ahead. And today, he said, and I really believe him, that we're in for a really tough road here in the next 6, 8 months to a year. So they're going to take advantage of their situation and they're going to try to hollow out the middle class. That's us. So I'm giving you a warning. He warned you, but I'm just explaining to you guys that he means it. That's the agenda. The agenda is to get rid of us. They're telling us that. In whatever way, shape, or form you want to formulate that, that's what they want to do. They want 2 classes, the aristocrats and us. And the other part of this that I need to explain to you is the bottom part of technocratic dictatorship. That's when big business runs government. George Soros, for example, in the US, right? Okay, so let's go. What's the deal with communism and what these guys are all businessmen? Why do they want to run the country? So they have a monopoly. So then they can control the money, all the money. So also understand that these guys have printed all this money, the Fed and all those guys. They don't need money because they print money. The US Fed prints money and the US government buys that money from those people. Unbelievable as that may sound, that's actually the way it is. All right, so Mr. Carney has 103 ethics violations. 103 companies that he's directly involved with that he could influence as Prime Minister. How the hell is he still there? Do you remember when that $16 glass of orange juice got that MP fired? $16 for a glass of orange juice, and they fired this person had to resign. Now we're talking 103 ethics violations, and it's all good. And Justin had what, 83? And here's one of the companies. They gave $1.2 billion towards the forestry sector. But he owns a whole bunch of stock in West Fraser, one of the largest.
My favorite place.
Just going to show you that's already happening. How is that possible? He's only been in there 4 months. Danielle said, going to affect national unity. At our dinner, she said 6 months. That's going to be 1st of November. We'll ask her about that at the AGM too. We'll say, Premier, you said you were giving them 6 months. 6 months is up. They haven't given us anything. What's the next step? Oh, here's something. Gilbo pulls a pin on $11 billion Kitimat refinery project. Do you know that the Americans are buying Alberta natural gas and selling it to Poland? Did you know that? And you know that Germany and Japan and Greece came to Alberta with their hat in their hand and said, would you sell us natural gas? And our Prime Minister said, no, it's not in our plan. Because our plan is to break Alberta and Albertans. That's our plan. But we'll sell this to the Americans and the Americans at a really reduced rate. And then the Americans will sell it to the Poles. And the Poles said, well, why don't you guys sell it direct to us? We could probably both benefit. So they pulled the pin on this, and they're sending stuff right to the US. So what happens here? $750 billion is what that cost us in turnover. Generational wealth for the country. It cost our kids jobs. They're attacking our kids. That's what's happening. Because there's going to be nothing there for them. And you know why they want to keep it in the ground? So they can control it. They really believe that they don't want us using all of these resources because it should be there for the aristocrats. That's the way they think. Now here's the next step, Bill C-293. In the next emergency, this is a farming community. That bill says that they will be able to come to your farm and seize your land and your herd. And it'll be legal. And the next emergency is going to be something that they decide what it is, and what happens in emergencies is they take all your rights away. So if they're able to take your rights away during an emergency, what do you think the odds are that they will manufacture an emergency, if they choose to? Right?
Well, they will.
There it is. Okay, let's talk about the tariffs now. We tariffed a $10,000 electric Chinese car, knowing full well that they were going to do a retaliatory tariff. So what did they tariff? Canola, peas, and pork. Do you know that the canola industry is bigger than the car, steel, 3 or 4 big industries all by itself? But it's in Western Canada, right? So they didn't want to hurt the car producers over there again. So they tariffed that, not anything to do with what's happening in the East. All right, here's where I show you how rich we can be, just so you get it. All right, Bill C-69, the Premier said, please repeal Bill C-69. Today, that was part of our ask. Bill C-48, please repel that and take away the carbon cap. That's the 3 things that she asked for. She's begging. Actually, I'll have it as a part of my presentation. She's actually saying, look, you did all this for the East, do this for the West. Because what's happening is they're landlocking us here by doing that. That's what they're doing on purpose, so that we can't pull it out of the ground.
Comparison of countries with the highest oil production.
Now, pay attention to this. Now, I want you to pay attention to Norway. Norway's coming up. This is the largest oil producing countries in the world. That's barrels per day. So Syria, 75,000 barrels per day. And I want you to pay attention to the countries when you get to the top 15, who the countries are and how well they do as nations. So this should be cut in half. I should have the top 25 instead of the top 50, but it builds. Can you imagine how many dinosaurs had to die for them to produce all that oil every day? Do you think it's really a fossil fuel? Just an FYI, just a question. Just understand these guys that are producing less than 1 million barrels of oil a day all need oil. They all need to import oil. India, 800,000 barrels a day doesn't even dent what they need. You know, man, that's an Arab nation. 1 million barrels a day and go up. We get into some of the African stuff here now. Qatar, that's who got our natural gas contract for $750 billion. Okay, Norway, 2,020,000 barrels a day. Kuwait, okay, that's number 10. We're not there yet. We're still going up that hill. Iran, that's all the world famous oil producing country. United Arab Emirates, below us. Iraq, and China. And there's Canada. 5.7 million barrels of oil a day, of which 87% is produced here in Alberta. And then Russia, which is double us. Saudi. And USA. 21 million barrels of oil a day. All right. So the point of that is this. Norway came to study our oil patch 30 years ago. They now have a $1.3 trillion US oil fund. And actually that's not true. They now have a $2 trillion US dollars oil fund. And we are $100 billion in debt. Where did the money go? Where did the money go? And I'll ask you a question. Do you think we'd be okay? The level of money that's leaving this province is mind-boggling. And the production cap is designed to kill our oil patch. They want us to stop producing oil. That's what they want us to do. They want to kill the oil patch. They want to sabotage the biggest industry in the country so that they can keep it for themselves in the future. Because this is the most accessible place for any oil. There's no, politically stable, generally speaking. It's right next door to the biggest oil producing country and also the biggest consumption country in the world. And it's right here. So they don't want that to happen. We, however, don't understand one reason why it cannot happen, because the demand for oil goes up every single year. And this is the most ethical place in the world to produce it. That's what it's cost us already in spending, $500 billion. Just imagine what that means as far as where we would be already today, as far as stuff that's already built oil production, natural gas production. They may alone $16.2 billion fled Canada. Last 4 months, $84 billion. So they understand what's going on here, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. This is a very unstable place. They don't want to invest the money here because they think they're going to lose it because of what's going on politically. And it's a big secret to most of our people, but I'm telling you, it's not a big secret to anybody else. We're just not seeing it because we're living right in the middle of it, and that's what we think normal should be because that's what we've been conditioned to think. All right, well, I've got 10 minutes to go, guys. Bear with me here. It doesn't get any better, though. The carbon tax has cost Canadians billions of dollars over 5 years, hurting the economy by reducing CO2 emissions by 11.9 gigatons. China emits 11.9 gigatons every day and a half. It's a lie. That whole thing is a lie. Do you know who Joe Goebbels is? He used to be the publicist for the Germans, the Nazis before the war. He said, the bigger the lie, the more likely people are to believe. And that's a really big lie. Just telling you. All right. Okay, so right up at the top of that, it shows how many, I'll move that down, how many coal-powered burning plants that they have in China. It's 1,100. We have 8. All right. India has 285. USA has 200 and some. But anyways, we'll get to the next slide here. And carbon tax revenue. And I want you to find China on there for me. I want you to find India on there for me. I want you to find Pakistan on there for me. I want you to find the USA on there for me. So 95% of the CO2 produced in the world is produced by those people. And they have no carbon tax. So what are we paying carbon tax for? And we're second most in the world. All right, and here's the truth of it. Why isn't China concerned about climate change? Because they already have a communist government. Okay, I know that's amusing, but it's really serious. Like, this is not funny. I mean, it's funny. I put it there because I thought it was funny, but here's the other thing. Here's the rest of the lie. Everywhere in the news, if it's 30 degrees, you notice the weather map's all red now? Like, it's climate change, it's hot at 30 degrees. Everywhere, 25 degrees, it's red. And that's causing all these fires. But that's not true. 100 out of 111 here are human caused by people. And that's not a surprise to me because I grew up in Bonneville. And Bonneville is right at the edge of the boreal forest. And we have firefighters there. And I'll share this with you, it's God's truth. If there wasn't a fire, they would set a fire. Because the forest is designed to burn. Conifers don't even germinate unless they burn. It's God's plan. It has to burn, releases the carbon into the air. That's the way it works. Rejuvenates the whole forest. All that nice new green stuff that grows, the animals are all there. If you want to hunt moose, just go to a forest fire area about 3-4 years after the fire. Trust me.
Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes.
Right. Canadians pay 42% of their income in taxes, more than food, housing, and clothes combined. I'm going to tell you guys what. We don't have to. We can tell them no. Did you see what happened in Nova Scotia? They were fining them $25,000 for walking in the bush. Everybody went for a walk in the bush and they changed the law. You can say no. We're not paying those taxes. Do you think for 1 minute if everybody stopped paying taxes, what would happen? Not a damn thing. Well, they could try and charge, they'd probably charge me. Okay, so carbon tax is back, by the way. It's called the Clean Fuel Regulation. All right, so here's all the taxes you pay, just so you understand what that 43% is. It's not all on your check. That's the part that you see. All right, now in free and independent Alberta, all or most of that is going to be gone. because it's designed to keep you poor. That's the only reason it's like that. And to keep you working so that you're not paying attention to what the hell they're doing. That's the other part of it. And you need two incomes to make things work. And in order for them to be able to bring in all these immigrants, you can't be having too many babies. And that's all the plan. It sounds absolutely evil, but it's absolutely the way it is.
Evil.
Evil. All right, so let's read the taxes. Carbon tax, personal income tax, corporate income tax, goods and services tax, excise tax, fuel excise tax, alcohol excise duty, tobacco excise duty, cannabis excise duty, custom duties, air travel security charge, luxury tax, provincial territorial tax, capital gains, land transfer tax, media tax, regulation tax, CPP tax, estate tax. So if you die, you become immediately rich. Because in Alberta, the average person owns, whatever, over $1 million in stuff once they die, if you count the house and everything. Do you know what the capital gains tax is on the difference between what you paid on your house and what it's assessed at now? 65%. So they want your kids to have your money either. See, they've got it all planned. They get you here, and then they get you there. So now Carney announced that there's going to be a great big recession. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that in the middle of this recession, when he knows that you're all hurting, that he's going to cut 20% of those taxes out? And why wouldn't he? There isn't a civilization in history that has been taxed more than 20% that hasn't gone to war. We're at 43%. All right. Out of $187 billion worth of liberal infrastructure spending finds 20,000 missing projects. And they wouldn't answer a question. And nobody went to jail. How much money do you think was missing out of that $187 billion? A lot of it. Conservatives won the fight to audit the Liberals' $187 billion infrastructure plans. However, the Liberals aren't about to make holding them accountable easy. They never answered the question. So, what happened when they found that $400 million missing in the Green Fund? Just at the end of the year, Trudeau resigned, and they called an election. And guess who the guy that was handling the money, that $400 million, guess what he is? He's now the new finance minister. That's honestly not true. Go check it out. So they reward each other for doing all that. That $400 million stopped everything. And what did Mr. Carney say after? Well, that was previous guys. Had nothing to do with me. I'm the new prime minister. Just had an election. All right, foreign aid. You know that's a money. That's a graph. That's unbelievable that anybody would believe that actually happens. So look at the bottom, just let's look at Iraq, 1.08 billion. So they went to the leader of the Iraqi nation and they said, you know what, we'll give you 400 million, give us 600 million back. What would he say? Yeah, absolutely, all day. $11 billion in transgender thing. Okay, let's talk about guns. Stop forward. His house got broken into.
Yeah.
An Ontario politician who says, you should be allowed to shoot criminals who break into your house. Did you hear Danielle last week? The question her about that guy. She said, if you don't want to get beat up or shot, don't break into people's houses. That girl, I like that idea. We tried to get Castle Doctrine into our Bill of Rights, but they wouldn't do it. All right. All political power comes from the barrel of a gun. The Communist Party must command all the guns. That way no gun can ever be used to command the party. That's Mao, before he killed 100 million people after he took the guns away. Cambodians did the same thing, Germans did the same thing, the Russians did the same thing. So it's about power and control. If you've got no way to protect yourself, you're pretty powerless, you're pretty controllable. It's not about hunting rifles. The Americans said this. This is the way New Alberta is going to look as far as I'm concerned. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the way we have to live our lives. And let me be clear, just if you guys hear what's happening, I'm going to credit Jeff with this. Jeff had a guy call him And he called me, and I was sitting in the Slobies parking lot, and we were discussing an Alberta gun license with a good friend of his. The three of us were on a conference call, and we decided that was going to be a really good idea, and we should put it forward to the premier. They're actually introducing it. They're going to make an Alberta gun license, thanks to that call. They're not going to be taking our guns yet. If we get an NDP government, they'll kill the license, and you know what's going to happen after that. All right, so in conclusion, the only person coming to save you is the version of yourself that's tired of the current situation. And that's basically going to sum it all up. Thank you very much.